All right, we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order.
First order of business is the fire department budget, and the fire chief is here. Anything, your budget hadn't changed much from last year.
Yeah, that's basically, I'm resubmitting basically the same amount I did last year with a slight increase on the uniform budget, requesting $600 more on the uniform line item because our turnout gear has gone up over the last couple of years. That's the coats and boots and things we use when we go inside.
Have you placed an order to spend the money that's budgeted this year?
Yes, the order has been placed. You guys approved that last month, and I'm trying to get all the guys' size for it.
So, just a quick question on that, and I meant to ask it when we approved the other ones. Is this a rotating thing, or how often, how long is the set good for?
NFPA, the people that set the standards for what we should do, says no more than 10 years. And
so at the rate you're replacing them, is it once you get them all replaced, will the other ones start meeting? I mean, is that how you got it phased out? Or?
yeah, we're kind of cycling it through right now.
Staging them out.
I've got 2 new guys now that need gear, and then I've got a couple of guys that have, basically we have 2 sets of gear. We have a primary set and a backup set when the first one gets dirty. And what I'm trying to do now is replace some of them that have the older dates of 2005. So they're actually over their 10 years already. And that's why we do 4 sets a year to try to keep them cycling through so we don't get a big lump sum.
That's why I was wondering why you chose 4. I mean, if it works out.
Basically, we look at that as if we do 4 sets a year in a 5-year period, we've done about 3/4 of the department over a period of time. That way we kind of space them out instead of buying all of them at one time. Other than that, I'm just bringing back the same amounts I had last year. It's working for us, and it's always nice to have more, but we can make do with what we've got.
And then on that, also the fire tags. We had on the back end that we collect for the fire tags. There was, and I dealt with this. And I kind of understand that there's like 250 people that live in close proximity to the city, and their fire tag is $100, and everybody else is $50. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my understanding. I have to look at the ordinance.
I think Martin and I looked it up. There was like 250.
The reason that is because on our trucks, we have 1,500 foot of 4-inch hose. And years ago, they decided that anything that could be serviced within 1,500 foot of a hydrant could get a lower ISO rating. So anything that we can reach with a hose on one of our trucks from a city hydrant, they chose at that point to increase the charge.
Because it's a higher level of service.
Potentially, yes.
And these are folks that live in this county.
Yeah, they live outside the city limits, but
Yeah.
within 1,500 foot of a
Foot of
hydrant.
a fire hydrant.
Because I got hit by the same question yesterday,
Yeah.
and I was told there was only 28.
No, Martin and I think there was like, I thought that we looked up there was
28 fire tags?
There was 28 fire tags at $100 compared
Well,
to...
maybe, yeah.
Well, and so how long have we been doing a $50 fire tag?
It was a thing that went countywide about 8 or 10 years ago. I don't know. This was done before I became chief. I wasn't part of the actual fire tag.
Well, the reason I
process.
ask is maybe, because there's been controversy there, why not bring those people down and bring everybody else up? How many tags is there is it time to increase the fire tags?
That's a decision for the board.
That's
How long have they been at that current?
As long as I've been on.
Yeah, it's been
Probably been a long time, I bet.
I know, and it goes to where your budget to help out with the expenses of your budget.
Yeah, that goes into the rural fire fund, which is where we have a kitty that we use for small trucks and other miscellaneous expenses over and above the budget.
I just think something we need to look at.
Sounds like a good.
What do you think about the argument that someone who's closer to a source of water should pay more? I mean, that's the logic for the differential.
Whose source of water? The city's?
Our water.
Yeah.
Yeah. the city
You're within
hydrants is
1,500 feet of a hydrant. You pay
When you
more.
go to a fire out, when someone has a fire tag outside the city limits, don't you bill that person?
Yeah, for actual fires we do.
Right, you bill them so much per hour and so
Yeah. It's like $300 an hour per truck and so much per man. To be honest, we haven't had any structure fire outside the city limits in so long. I can't think of one in the last 2 or 3 years.
So we are,
But it'd be more if they didn't have a tag.
Yeah.
It'd be quite,
Because-
probably double or more.
So is that their option to, do they have to have a fire tag?
They do not.
Okay.
Legally, they are not required to have a fire tag. It's basically a volunteer subscription service for the service. You pay the fire department or the city for the use of their fire department to put the fire out. If they don't buy a tag legally, we do not have to respond to that call. Morally, it's the right thing to do.
You're gonna do the right
we
thing.
always have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way it's gone in the past that I'm aware of is if we go on a roll call and they have a fire tag, we bill the insurance and take whatever the insurance gives us, and that's what we settle for, is what I understand it to be. If they don't have a fire tag, then we can bill them, then there's a list of charges. It's, like I said, I think it's $300 per hour per truck, and so much per man and everything, and then we can bill them for the full thing, plus the fire tag,
And where are you getting your water then?
wherever we can find it, if we can find it. That, one of our little trucks outside is set up to back up to a pond or a creek or something like that. It's always been kind of a touchy, not touchy, but a controversial subject, because the fire tag actually says on it that it's the owner's responsibility to have a water source available. But a definition of a water source is kind of a, somebody says, I got a garden hose, that
Well,
can
I
be
was just gonna
considered a
say-
garden hose. We prefer them to have a pond or a pool or something we can track out and we take water out of that. But that's also one of the reasons why we build the trucks with the big tanks on them too. We take these two trucks out, we've got almost 4,000 gallons of water on the two trucks. So we can sustain a while. And then if we can't find water, then we call in a mutual aid department, bring in a tanker to help haul water to us.
I want to see, if there's not been an increase, and I'm not saying we have to do anything, but it seems to me a gradual thing, things go up. The expenses of the fire department continue to go up. So I just think it's in the best interest of everybody, and it's not a lot of money, but I don't know how many fire, maybe that was 250 countywide.
How many properties in your area don't have this?
That would be a question that Sue would know better than I. She's the one that collects the tags.
We mail out about 500 tags, and like Mississippi Lime, on their one tag has 11 different places they pay for. And Chemical Lime's like at 8. Does that sound right?
There aren't 500
So-
customers, there's
Right,
500
500
tags.
tags.
So how many don't?
I think right now we collected maybe 450. I mean, it's the same
A
50
lot.
people every year that don't pay.
Or is there any kind of stipulation that money that's in the rural fire fund can only go for certain things? Is it like an earmark? Like we collect the band tax and that can only go for,
But no, we could take the rural fire fund.
but I mean for fire stuff.
Yeah.
It
but
it can go for anything to
yeah,
do with the
anything
fire
at
department.
their discretion.
It's not, it doesn't have to go for, like the money for the rural fire tags doesn't have to go for outfitting you to fight rural fires or anything like that.
Right.
When are those?
In fact, I just bought tires for one of my trucks, and we took that out of the rural fire fund, because that was I haven't got the bill yet, but it's like $2,600 that we didn't have to take out of the budget to help support the
So I think
budget.
it's something we need to look at. I'm
I
sorry.
agree. I mean, maybe you wouldn't have to do it all at once. Maybe you could phase it in over, if it's been a long time or something.
I don't-
Look at it. I
It's
don't
But it's
know.
either 2000 or 2005, we're not
Yeah.
sure.
It's either 2000 or 2005.
It's been at least 10
Okay,
years.
so it's been at least 10,
13 years.
13.
When are those fire tags due?
March 1st.
Okay, so we got plenty of time to do something.
Mail them out like the last week of January, their notices.
Or is that gonna push more people not to pay any?
You always stand that chance.
Yeah, you always stand that chance, exactly.
So
Even though we raise it, we could end up bringing in less.
You mentioned there was a fire department standard. Did anybody else charge them 50?
That's kind of what the county chiefs did back in 2005. They all said, let's just do it across the county. This is what it is. I think a couple of them since then have changed it, but I don't know for a fact.
Well, the other thing you could do, if you're afraid of that, you could always raise the fee that you charge to put out a fire. You said you right now you have a scale
Yeah.
for that. Maybe that needs to be looked at.
Yeah, but the chances of collecting that are, that
Well,
money is on the insurance.
I don't
company,
know.
so
I mean,
I
you
think
know.
the money, I think the burden of hand is that money up
But
front.
simply the fact that they're not required to pay it, you know, like you say, you could lose some that way. I don't know, it's worth a try.
The fire tags also are broken down too into commercial properties, if I'm not mistaken, and residential's and farm, and there's several different levels, so it's not all just a $50 charge.
Well, and then
for fire tags.
what about with Mississippi lime and chemical lime? My goodness, I don't think they would not pay that.
I wouldn't think so.
So whose law is it? Is that a city ordinance and stuff that we did the $100 to the, so somebody at 1,600 feet outside the city limits doesn't have to pay it?
Well, they pay the 50.
Pay the 50.
They pay the 50.
Yeah.
You're paying for the.
Because they're not using city water.
Right.
Well, and then
Unless it's
also,
stuff from
there's an
Canada.
endless supply of water to fight the fire too. You know, with what Kenny just said, if he comes on the scene and he's at a structure that they don't have water, he's got 4,000 gallons of water to fight the fire, whereas he comes out into the county and he's by that fire hydrant, well, then it's an endless supply. So it's just, you're paying a little extra for insurance, in case you're.
If I were building in the county and built a lake, could I put a dry hydrant in it? Would you be able to use one?
Yeah. We've actually got, I think there's two, I know two for sure, I think there might be a third dry hydrant. And basically what that is a PVC pipe that comes in from the edge of the water out into the middle of the pond so that the water stays above it. And we can hook to that and draft with one of our big trucks. A few years ago, probably about the same time, around 2005, there was a big push in the county to get those in there. And Krensley and 2B Hook out on Siebert Road both did, they got a subsidy from, I think, University of Missouri Extension or something to help offset some costs there. But yeah, dry hydrants are great if we can get them. And certain insurance companies will actually count that as a hydrant in their insurance policy for the rural people.
So what are your thoughts on us visiting that as opposed to you visiting it with the other chiefs like you said was set up before?
I can talk to the other chiefs and see where they're all at and find out and get back to you guys on that. I'm not opposed to doing it, that's a decision that's made by the board.
Well, you made the statement that it was decided amongst all the area chiefs, and I'm like, maybe it needs to go back to them and see what their thoughts are.
I'm pretty sure there's one or two that have changed since then, but I don't know that for a fact.
Higher, Kenny?
Yeah, they've raised, I think,
I would think so. I
Yeah,
mean, that's.
I think
Everything else has gone up, there's no
Well,
reason
that's,
that.
I mean, look at what we're gonna spend on a truck.
Exactly.
Did you guys meet, what, quarterly, the county
the
altogether?
county chiefs meet quarterly, yeah.
So are ours only 150? No, if it's a farm, it's not more?
Farm and commercial are 75.
That's what I thought.
So there's cash reserves I see here in the rural fire fund. There's a CD with the amount. Is a CD the best rate of return we can get for this money that's sitting around? I mean, CDs are terrible.
We're-
Rural fire's only at like at 1.1.
Yeah, 1.1%. Is there another
We
place?
can't put our money in anything that's market sensitive. So yeah,
Right.
you can get better returns.
You can get better return, but you get a lot of risk with it.
Right,
So-
but there's nothing that's better rate of return than 1.1% that without
You
some
could
kind of
shop the
risk.
banks, but I don't think you're
We
gonna
do,
get
we always,
much.
when they come due, we look for the best rate.
Yeah,
I've seen MRB has got one up there now, 4 years, 2.75, so you're more than doubling.
right.
But they won't give us, because we're governmental, they won't give us that deal. They'll give us the best rate, because they just renewed one at 2%, but we can't get what like a regular individual can get.
And the 4-year question, is we
Yeah.
tend to do ours on a yearly cycle, because the point of it is to have it available, you know, when you want it. Now, the only thing, if you have a 4 year, you pay a penalty when you draw it out early. But,
I just hate to see a bunch of money sitting there getting 1%.
yeah,
Hurts my soul.
I agree with you. I agree with you. And the interest rates are creeping back up again. I mean, it's getting better, but it's not,
or worse, depending on whether you're a lender or a borrower.
well, yeah.
So you're gonna check with the chiefs, see what the area standard is, what the other rates are, and we'll inform the board at the subsequent meeting.
You can bring that to the next meeting.
And we can decide whether or not to pursue an adjustment. What I'm hearing is we might not just want to do an increase, we might want to look to kind of rebalance it a little bit.
Yeah, I'll be able to report that back next board meeting, I'll call the chiefs.
And I've had to explain that too with the $100, you know, right off the bat. And there's a lady that called me and it was out on M Road, same situation. Talked to her and told her that, and she says, you know, I understand that now. It's not explained to people very well.
One thing that people get confused with too, that not everybody's aware of it too, that the county water brings hydrants close to town, and they have the pretty little red hydrants that are about that big around. Those are actually not hydrants, they're flush plugs. So we technically are not supposed to hook to those. We haven't, but other departments in the county have hooked to them and caused damage to their system. So they won't allow us to hook to them. So if their insurance credits as a hydrant, they're getting lucky, but they're not really a true fire hydrant, just a flush plug.
And we do because of the irregular boundary of the city. You know, we have situations where you drive by a house where a guy's paying for a fire tag to go to a house where he's not. It's just because the city limit picks up that house and not the other one.
Any more questions?
Well, one thing I think we need to look at our rates too, you know, what we're charging. How many fires do you fight outside the city limits?
The last structure fire I can think of that we actually had a working fire outside the city has probably been a year and a half ago or more. Maybe as much as 2. I'd have to look back at the records. I can't remember the last time we actually had a working structure fire outside the city. We're really fortunate here. On average, we only have maybe 3 or 4 in the city even in an average year. So.
Chief, where we stand on our ISO rating? 4 or 5?
We're still at a 5. I talked to the ISO guy back when we were getting ready to order the truck, and they ask for information yearly, but we won't get credit for an audit for that until that truck is in service for a full year and responding on calls for a year. So potentially, we're hoping to have that truck in late October, early November, the way it sounds now. So at the 1 year point, I can call them in early and have things going, but they won't give you credit until that truck's been in service a full year.
Good? Everybody good? Kenny, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kenny.
If anybody does want to walk around the firehouse after a while, I'll be staying afterwards.
I think I'd like to check it out. That's awesome. Great facility. Gary Roth in the building? Oh, there he is.
You got that fancy shirt on.
There he is, in the house.
Okay.
This street. 22.
We distributed the sheet today, which is the items of capital purchase that Gary's proposing in his budget. It's really about the only change.
Would on his proposed changes that he gave us, wouldn't that first item be considered a capital improvement?
But they're all capital improvements.
The building, to get rid of the glass windows.
Is that at the shed over there?
Yeah.
That's been suggested from
Oh, it's
time
long
to time.
overdue, but
Yeah.
But, you know, it's not like it's a mandatory item, it's not a safety issue, it's not affecting our operating expenses, except maybe some heat loss through the glass walls. But it's something that has been mentioned often.
Is that material only, you gonna do the labor?
You're saying it could come out of a different fund?
right.
Good.
What's the skid steer pavement? What's the skid steer pavement?
Payment.
Oh, payment, I'm sorry.
Is that a one-time payment
No, it's
for the next,
a yearly.
how many more years?
One more.
And your street crew, what's your primary use?
Prepping for our patching, the way we patch now. And it would also be asset for our flash floods and cleaning up afterwards. And flood floods.
You have an attachment for one of your trucks already like that, don't you? Or
No.
you just push the mud out?
Yeah, with snow plow.
You'd still be pushing mud when the boom's not done.
Right.
It's for clean.
This would be
This would be
After the mud's gone,
Finish
you still,
clean. Yeah.
You mean after it dries up, then
Well, on the flash
this is
floods, you
as
know,
good a
just
time as any to
debris and
compliment
the sticks and everything it leaves behind.
Gary, but,
How we get that under the trestle all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Keep that clean.
I got 2 comments over the weekend about people who were here and said, I can't believe how clean your town is.
Yeah.
Well, it's not by accident.
No.
I'm proud of that too. That is that is a great compliment.
it is great. Yeah, how many blowers you got? It was like a buzzsaw. See? Yeah, they were busy boys.
Are you still doing the
And girl.
mosquito chemicals?
We do the biscuits, throw them in the standing water. We don't do the spraying.
Okay.
I didn't bring it tonight. I know this has been a topic of conversation on social media recently, particularly since a mosquito was found with West Nile virus in Crystal City. I will distribute at your next meeting the report that says spraying by itself is not a solution. We do larvicide, we do educate, we do all the things that they suggest that you should do. The only time that I've been able to find that spraying works is if you're capable of doing a mosquito inventory. Then you can identify small parts of your town where you have a higher concentration of female mosquitoes, and you can spray that area to try and kill the adult females and reduce the reproduction cycle. But it just spraying is not an answer.
It makes people feel good though.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
And I'm sympathetic to them because I get bitten too, you know. I agree, the mosquitoes are
I
bad.
just tell them they come in from the county.
Well, there are
We don't have
plants, there are plants that you can plant,
Yeah.
which will eliminate that. When we moved out here, Linda put in, lavender is one of them, and some other stuff. We
Yeah,
have virtually no mosquitoes.
Really?
It really works. And there's no chemicals.
Plants.
Plants.
Well, anyway, I've got this article, I didn't bring
Yeah.
it tonight because I didn't think we'd be discussing it, but I'll distribute it with my city administrator
So what
report.
I'm picking up is we need more lavender downtown. Okay, I can work with that.
Mosquitoes are
You
here.
don't have anything in here for salt?
I'll be going out
Yes,
without
under
spray.
chemicals,
Oh, okay,
just carrying the.
Gotcha.
The normal amount over.
okay.
You got
About salt. We gonna buy salt this year?
I just-
I hope not.
We've got enough salt to do, what, 3 average snows?
Last year we bought, what was it,
We bought some.
150 ton. You know, because you buy it in October, it's
You commit to it.
$80 a ton. You buy it in December when you need it, it's
I think you ought to
$300
gamble this
a ton.
year and don't buy any salt.
Yeah, right. Can I turn off the city hall phone, forward it to your phone?
Well, if I buy in October, I don't have to take delivery of it till the end of March.
If we buy in October and don't take delivery till the end of March, and we have a season like we had last winter, we're gonna have to be looking for a place to put it come March. He's using up pretty much all his storage on.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, last year we used just a little short of what we caught, so.
And we can buy some.
Gary,
We did it.
8,000 infrastructure improvements.
We buy some.
What was that? 224,191?
Who do we buy?
Paving projects.
Okay,
Buy some.
that's what I thought.
We will buy salt.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was that, Randy? I'm lost. Oh, infrastructure improvements?
Yeah, line 8,000 on page 24.
Okay. And what,
And that includes the two.
Okay.
But you have to.
On your
put
clerk-
something in the budget,
budget.
to make the budget reflect what you actually spent.
Where'd we go here?
So that's.
Are we moving to park now?
Oh, I thought we were jumping them all at once.
No, that's state roads.
Wow.
And what we do on the infrastructure improvement is that we kind of wait to get a sense of the revenues, and then we
Right.
do a budget amendment in
Okay.
order to fund, based on our regional road tax and revenues, what the amount of work that we can do. We can put a number in there now, but it wouldn't mean anything.
Okay.
We know it's gonna be over, well,
I
hopefully.
figured that's what it was, I was just.
It's in that
making sure,
200,000
that's all.
range,
Yeah.
pretty much every year.
How many employees have you got, Gary?
6. That's
Oh.
between street and park.
Full-time.
7065 contract labor was nothing in 15, 16, and 17, but it's 10,000 in 2018. What was that for?
We added that for, like, hard, like cut trees down. Still working with Sonny Geck on getting the price of hauling the brush side off.
So that's just to keep us from having budget amendments later or something?
We do have that hauled off soon? I would think so. I've been down there quite a bit lately.
What's that?
The brush site,
No.
get a big pile. Well, yeah, but that's.
Everybody has health insurance. Everybody's on it.
That was fun.
They've got that little.
What budget are we looking
Gary,
at?
one question I get asked every now and then and stuff is, and I know it hits right about the same time when grass mowing starts, is moving up the patching more right after the winter when the choke holes are there and stuff. Is there any way we can kind of redirect?
Yep. It would have been this year if I could have kept employees.
That's always a big issue.
Yeah.
Is
Mhm.
How do we decide, who's the pothole police? You the pothole police?
Everybody.
Facebook, answer
Is it?
machine.
The pothole hotline?
Pothole hotline, I've never had to call it.
No.
How can we get Domino's to do some of that?
That's right, yeah.
Everywhere I go, I hear about them though, I bet you do too. When they gonna fix that one in front of my house, right?
Well, you know, really, I've been, the comments I've gotten lately, the patching, the pothole patching has been good.
Yep.
And I've got it from some crabby old men that love to complain, and they said that
Oh, we don't
whatever
have
you're
any of
doing,
those in this town.
yeah, there's a lot of them.
So what are you doing differently?
Instead of just patching a pothole, we're patching an area,
Yeah,
because when you just do that pothole, it's already separated around it, so we're
right.
Mhm.
bigger and better. And it seems to really be working.
Yeah, it does.
And over here on Park, there's used a bunch of asphalt.
Yeah, now we're gonna pave it.
Needed it.
It needed it. You know,
That's part of level and wedge.
That's right.
Yep.
When are they gonna start on our asphalt?
As soon as we get the riser, and they're probably,
Couple weeks.
yeah, 2 weeks out.
Okay. So the risers.
They've been ordered.
See, cause on Main Street, there's some dips.
Well, we ordered 3-inch risers this time.
Okay, well, we
So
gotta
you
correct
might,
that.
what you might end up with, instead of having a dip, is you might have a little mound to go over. But
That'd be better
it'd be
than-
less
Which
offensive than the
Which is more ideal,
whole.
that way the water runs away from the sewer instead of
Right,
into the
that's
sewer.
good. Let's continue to do that practice. Cause I've gotten complaints about potholes. Not potholes, but
On which,
sewers.
on Main Street?
Main Street, same way when they did Market out here,
Fourth
it's,
Street.
What was putting some blacktop over the main just to smooth it out?
Just, the only one we did was the one dropping off, Fourth,
At the
before
skate park.
Leahy. The one in Seraphin, there's one on Market right at Fifth Street.
It's like three
There's
of
4
them.
of them that Corey got for me to fix those.
this.
So the next time we do asphalt, then.
It's already, it's in his budget. He's just telling you what he's doing.
It's like three
If you
of
approve
them
his budget,
on
you approve.
market, isn't it?
But I'm all about this week. Keeping the town.
Up on the new barn? Yeah.
Any more questions about this budget?
Park? Going to the park? All right. Go to the park. Okay.
On the park, on line item 5,000 for salaries, is one of your guys that's working for, are they just still paid through the park service? or-
Yeah. Actually, I think it's Desiree, isn't it?
It's Art and Ryan.
Okay.
Oh, you got two? Okay. I was just wondering why we still had salaries in there.
It's just an allocation.
Gotcha.
I mean,
Gary, got anything from the park board?
No, I'm just wondering if you are serious about maybe moving some of that, actually, it looks like the mosquito biscuits, are we gonna want to have lavender plants as opposed to that?
I'd love to see the lavender
Because
plants
if you
up
want, we could probably move some of that over, I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But no, actually, from the park board, I think I'll be honest, for what you do, and what you have, I have no complaints.
No, yeah, I agree.
I think he does amazing. Now, in a perfect world, yeah, we'd love to increase it and get more stuff, but I'm not gonna go there this year.
Okay,
I think
good.
we're exactly where we need to be, and I can't imagine, I'm just proud of you, I can't imagine all the stuff you do.
Well, I think we gotta think of, as we're gonna
Park.
look at the future, you know, especially with the national park coming in, recreation is big for people. When they come to town, they wanna go to the park, and they wanna be able to walk on trails and have some things for their kids to do, so in the future, we need to look at that budget at the park, because we need some stuff out there. I mean, the trail we got out there is about this wide, it's cracking all over the place, you know, before long it'll be patching it, probably already patching it, you know. It was poor design, it wasn't poor design, it's a great trail, but it needs to be fixed, and it needs to be wider. But the problem is finding the money to do that. And I still don't know how much it's gonna cost, because Martin's supposed to run that for 2 years now, and he's not, for the record. So, get that price from Jokers.
And I will say, the park board that you have, that's out there working, they have some really creative ideas that are really coming down the pipe. I mean, they are working with this budget, and they are bringing all kinds of
They are, I'll
things.
tell you what, that's a good group out there, and they're looking at different things where they can get some outside funds to help with that. You know, so I'm excited about the vision. I mean, you're part of that, you know what's going on there. They're breathing some life into that place out there.
Gary, that pond in the park, we having trouble with the air, it's a pond.
No, it's a
Sinkhole, with water in it.
That Cinco Pond.
With the aerator thing, is there it seems like it's got some kind of film on it more often than not.
Yeah.
Is there a way what can be done about that?
We treated it with some chemicals, the blue color, talked with soil and water conservation, and everybody's had a problem, it's just been that hot.
Yeah.
And then the pump come apart, and we haven't got out there, it's down about now where we can wade out to it, so
Is the pump all that effective?
it helps
Aerate
aerate,
it.
agitate it.
It doesn't get film, and it doesn't get everything out there.
Yeah.
That busted a while back.
But when it gets the film around, it can't produce.
What about putting some grass carps in there? Bob, you know about a pond, don't you have grass carp in your pond?
No,
You don't?
no.
it worked fine if it had water in it all the time.
There's still water in it, them grass carps, man, they eat a lot of that stuff.
They do.
Don't eat grass.
Yeah.
They eat their weight,
And some
20
ducks.
times their weight or
What
something.
about some ducks, Gary?
Okay, and on this, I guess I'll be going to buy some ducks out of my pocket, and I need a duck house.
Duck, oh,
I'll be getting a hold of you. Mayor wants to get some ducks now, all right? And some lavender. Y'all heard it here first.
And purple martin nests.
You heard it here first.
Well, we
right?
do have, the
Lavender.
mosquitoes aren't bad because we have bats out there that eat the mosquitoes.
That's right, though. The bats
I'm
aren't
serious, the
bad.
bats not at the park. There's no mosquitoes at the park.
You can kick me anytime.
My 4th of July experience would beg to differ with that statement.
Well, you gotta understand, they're the county property. Right, so right up the hill from you, all them houses, they're coming in from the county.
Yeah, it's definitely their fault.
It is.
Yeah.
Maybe we could like tag the mosquitoes,
There you
keep
go.
track of which ones are from the county,
Yeah, it's-
like they do with sharks and stuff.
I've talked to commissioners about the mosquito problem out there.
What's the disc golf course? Is Steve pretty much doing that? Is that his baby?
He's got a grant from the Community Foundation. He's got the pricing on the next 9 set. He's gonna be about $300 short, and they still have money left in their budget to cover that. So
And there's a long-term goal of being able to host.
we will have 18 regulation golf holes at that point, and we'll still wanna do tee boxes, and there's still some things that need to set some signage. But yeah, I mean.
And then we can
he
host
said-
events.
He's of the opinion that we will be one of the better courses for them to have these tournaments.
The Bell Reeve of.
The Bell Reeve, I like that.
Of disc golf.
Yeah, the Bell Reeve
That
is
sport
good.
is really taking off though, so.
I,
we're-
it's,
I
the
have no
Facebook group
idea
is very
what it
active.
is.
So,
It's a hazard, that's all.
I think, you know,
Frisbee into a
got a
basket.
Oh, it's disc golf.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
a disc
He asked
golf
what disc golf was.
into a basket.
Use
You,
the
and
sling.
that-
They go out there every Monday night. If you wanna play, they'll take you for a round.
Okay,
Yeah.
Educate you on that.
I'll take that under
You
advisement,
throw a disc instead of hitting the ball.
Yeah.
but it's not frisbee.
No, it's disc golf.
Frisbee is a specific brand of disc.
That's pretty heavy.
these are not frisbees.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
It's like,
enough.
not every tissue is a Kleenex.
And you have different discs
As
for
long as
different
people like
purposes.
it, that's
There's
all
driver
that matters.
discs and putter discs.
Oh, there's all, you got to, yeah, I went and bought 3 of them. There's a box of 3, the short, the medium, and a putter. It's serious business.
What about jarts?
No, can't play jarts anymore,
Sure you can.
unless you wear a helmet.
Steel toe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cemetery, we look at cemetery.
Cemetery.
The thing we do with the cemetery is, for the first time, is we have a salary item.
You saw that.
And that's not adding any salaries, it's just crediting to the cemetery the manpower that it takes to, from,
Oh,
just allocating an amount so that the cemetery fund is
is.
paying for maintaining the cemetery, it's not coming out of the general
Gotcha.
fund.
Okay.
And that was discovered with the whole headstone snafu thing.
Well, it wasn't discovered, we used to contract out
Right.
at about that amount for the labor and equipment usage.
And I might add, that cemetery looks fabulous compared to what we had when we were paying,
Well, it's the difference between somebody who cares and
well,
somebody
it's
who's just got a
precisely.
job.
Yeah,
It actually makes the one that we were comparing to, it will look worse now.
yeah,
Yeah.
we really cleaned that up.
That's biz raised, baby.
Well,
Baby,
kudos to whoever, got behind it.
that is.
So is our cemetery in town, the old one too. Yeah. So we start taking that.
Well, we cut it. We assist them.
Gary, are the park workers different than street workers?
And as far as,
You said you had 6 street and park workers?
we're all, it's just 2 of their salaries come out of the park.
Just, nobody's assigned just to the park.
The park's paying $23,756 for insurance for 2 people?
Yeah, I knew nothing about
Yeah, that's on there. I saw it.
So if we got 4 street workers, we're paying $51,600.
Gary, does that include you?
it. No, I don't include me.
In the park.
6 plus me.
Okay, so 7 people.
Employee-wise.
But when they're talking insurance here, they're talking 7 people, is that correct?
No,
It's just 6.
in which fund? Park is 2 and street is 4.
And dollar amount
Right here.
will be more or less depending on the level of insurance that that employee is.
Right.
So if you've got health insurance with family, you know, that's gonna be higher than a single person's health
So I
insurance.
think under street department, it was like $53,000.
51,600.
Okay, and park
That's
is
the
another
insurance.
23,700.
23,700, so that's,
It's coming out of, you know.
And we're paying for the family insurance?
Yes.
Maybe we need to look into that.
That's another,
Well,
that's
the
more,
only
that's a more general
calling card I
discussion.
have on hiring
I
people
know.
is the insurance. You know, I feel if we cut the insurance, we're gonna have to come up with a couple dollars in a heart for everybody as a pay
Yeah.
raise.
Right.
Yeah, I had spoken to one of your guys recently that has come on that was able to accept a lower paying job from where he was due to the fact that it was offset by the great insurance.
Yeah.
And in today's age, great insurance is about
It's
as
huge.
big, it's a huge draw
It's
It's
huge.
for
dollars an
employees.
hour.
Yeah.
Yep.
because I know what I pay for mine,
Mm-hmm.
being self-employed.
So I guess if you cut their insurance but gave them a raise, you kind of cancel one another out?
Yep.
That's what you're gonna do.
Except
They're gonna
they-
have to-
Except they won't be able to buy comparable insurance on the
Right.
market for the
Right.
amount you're cutting it.
Because you're getting it at a group rate.
I tell you what, this day, we can't afford to lose workers.
No,
And
you can't.
we
I've
can't,
gone
I'm sorry,
through-
but
I don't know how many
we're not,
years.
we're limited to what we can pay an employee. If we keep taking away, then everybody on this board to be on a mower cutting grass, I guess. How it's gonna have to get done, the people are gonna have to do it, because if you can't pay the workers and keep workers, we want it to look nice, we'll have to take care of it ourselves.
But how do you address the issue, say you have a single person working, making the same pay as somebody with a family that's costing the city more money? How do you compensate for that?
I don't think you need to compensate for that.
But
I mean, we're not looking at, I mean, suppose he gets married and has a kid.
Right.
So it could happen. It's just, we're not, you know, I don't think you can get that far down into the weeds to do anything about that. That's just the way it is. And I just gotta continue to have incentives to keep workers, because if you're needing laborers these days, and I know where I work, we're 15 to 20 people short because we can't find laborers. So,
How's your insurance? Pretty good?
it's fair. I'm paying a bunch for it too.
Hmm?
Insurance is
Yeah.
until nationally it's decided something's gonna change, it's gonna keep getting
Yeah.
worse and worse
Yeah.
for everybody.
Sure. Any other questions for Gary?
Nope.
You're dismissed.
Thank
Thank you, Gary.
Good job, Gary.
Yeah.
Who's gonna sit up there now, Mark? Sue? Oh, she got a computer.
Look this way.
Page 3 and 4.
Oh. I can't pick up the bank.
So we are projecting a slight increase in revenues as opposed to prior years where we have not been projecting any increase in revenues because we're seeing a little increase in like the sales use tax and in the the sales tax. I think property tax is staying pretty level because that won't be reassessed till the next year's budget. So, but it's not, you know,
Could you explain general sales tax versus local use tax? What's, general sales tax is?
it is when you buy from
Right.
Commonwealth. Use
Okay.
taxes if you buy from Amazon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you keep track of that?
We don't, the state does. And it's kind of an honor to, any online, any purchase that is made outside of the state
Okay.
is subject to a use tax. So
Okay.
if I am in construction, I'm using this as an example, the church is going to buy and install an elevator.
Okay.
The elevator is going to come from Peoria. And so but it's being sold in Missouri, so the elevator manufacturer will pay to the state of Missouri the appropriate tax.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
a excise or use tax.
Okay. Well, when you said Amazon, I was a little surprised.
Well, it's the
I
same.
think it's broken because I've never paid anything.
What?
I've never paid anything extra on taxes with Amazon.
Well, you will start.
I've heard
paying.
that they're gonna
Because,
start.
because
They're
well,
gonna start
they
that.
have the Supreme Court ruling was you had to have a physical presence in the state in order to be required to pay sales tax. Now, you could always pay it, but Amazon now has distribution centers in Missouri. So
Okay.
they're gonna collect and turn over to the state the appropriate sales tax.
Okay.
But you mentioned the elevator thing that was purchased from a manufacturer in Illinois, shipped into Missouri. So that business was actually conducted though in the state of Illinois.
They're gonna pay, the purchase was in Missouri. The Missouri contractor who purchased. And it's brought into the state. Now, go ahead.
Because we face this every day.
And
And.
if it's paid if they can prove they paid it in Illinois, then they don't have to pay it in Missouri.
Correct, at a lower tax rate.
Right.
Much lower tax rate, half of our current. And that's basically by county.
You mean by county in Illinois?
No, it's basically by the county that the stuff ends up in the
Okay.
state of Missouri. Some counties have it, some don't, we don't.
Well, but the city does. So they have to collect it from the city.
Right.
So when sales tax is collected on merchandise sold in the city, does all of that come to that, whatever that percent, what is it, 8
Yeah, we don't get, that's
Right, how much of that?
state, county, ambulance district.
Right,
yes,
that's the full pie.
Right.
Of that,
What is
that you
ours?
pay, how much do we get?
We get 4%.
4%, okay.
That's of the total 9.225.
Right, okay.
So line item 4032, local use tax.
Yeah, that's what I just,
That is a combination of,
It's like Amazon.
That's what we were just talking about.
yeah, that's what we just, yeah.
It's the tax we received for sales that did not occur in the city.
You know, when you, I don't want to get off track here, but when you brought up Amazon or anything that's bought over the internet where it comes from, how are they gonna,
They're not.
yeah, I mean, how could you possibly keep track of that?
Well, I mean, it's a voluntary compliance
Right.
issue.
All right.
How do you police it? You're gonna have to talk to the treasurer of the state of Missouri, because I
Mhm.
don't.
Is there still a use tax being collected on landlines?
Is there? I don't have a landline.
I don't know, is there? That's what I'm asking.
There's a utility tax.
Okay, that's what that is up
Yeah.
there then. I thought there was a use tax on there too, or something for 911.
The utility tax telephone? 4110, that number is solely from FEMA?
And the farm leases.
No, I'm sorry.
And the what?
Farm
Farm
leases.
that we have.
Oh, like.
The big field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, that's gonna go down with the water price, right? So we're not farming that anymore.
That's not our property.
That's not our property.
Well, I thought,
No.
no, I mean, when did the county buy that? When they bought the
They bought it
original?
from Armbruster
Many years.
5 years ago. But not Armbruster, it was his son. But if a development were to go on the adjacent property like we've been talking, then we would lose that lease revenue.
But we would get property tax instead.
So it would
Yeah.
offset. Hopefully, yeah, more than offset.
Legislative. That has steadily gone down.
Pardon me?
What was
What line are you
legislative, number 11?
Oh, we're on expenditures now?
Yeah.
Number 11.
Page 4.
Okay.
That went down because we used to have to capture the sales tax and the property tax for the TIF, for the Valley Spring TIF,
Okay.
and we no longer have to do that.
And what's the big jump in the judicial then? 46 to 111.
All of Lisa's salary now has to be counted as judicial.
Oh, okay. So it no longer comes out of the police?
No longer comes out of the police.
Right, that's why the police went from
Okay.
953 to 936. But still, it's a big jump. The community development department, that's David?
Yes.
And reason.
Oh, no, but it's not, it's in community.
14.
Okay. In community development,
Page 11.
on page 4,
Page 4.
Oh, so you're talking about that chamber.
yeah, we've been paying for maintenance of our Visit St. John website to a consultant. As of June, Sandra, we have a new website. Sandra's, it's a content management website. Sandra is able to make the adjustments with only an occasional call to a consultant to do special things. So that, and we basically got all that arranged yesterday, so that'll go down by about $9,000.
I'm sorry, what line are you on?
Community, on the,
Page 414.
No, you're wrong.
I'm in the wrong department.
You gotta go to page 11.
We'll get there.
Okay,
Page 11.
page 11. Okay.
That's it, on the chamber. Right? Sue? Page 11, where it says chamber payment.
Okay.
Is that what we're talking about, Mark?
Yes.
Okay, so that's our membership in the chamber, the city's membership in.
No, we were paying the chamber for the computer consultant.
Oh,
It was a contract that was set up
Right.
years ago.
Okay.
And it just never got changed over to the city, so we're making the payment to the chamber, but that's not the one,
Yeah, it'll go down 3,800.
$3,800.
Yeah.
So you're talking about which line?
7155.
Okay, that's what I thought, all right.
Yeah, it's, well, like 3,840, it'll go down to $6,000.
But it's listed here at 9840.
Yes.
So that includes the membership payment and that
I know,
consultant
that's
payment.
what I was saying before, okay. So our membership in the chamber is how much a month?
500.
500 a month, okay. So that's $6,000 a year. And then, but you're saying you're reducing the cost of the website?
We're eliminating the cost of website maintenance.
Oh, okay, okay, great. That sounds good.
And, yes, that is good. All right. So the legislative budget, page 5, is your budget. Basically, the Board of Aldermen expenses and some other things.
Well, I think that they just, it's whatever it was.
Whopping salary.
So I have $1,500 to spend for travel next year?
Absolutely.
And conferences?
You spend it this year. No, you didn't spend it all.
I didn't spend it all. I want to make sure that's there for next year.
There was a dinner for the National Park Service.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Good. I'll make sure I spend that, Joe. You think about a bunch of, we ought to raise that budget.
Don't buy pizza.
Huh?
Don't buy pizza.
I just want to see your reaction.
Well, there is, seriously, the MML has some training opportunities, and it's in Columbia, and it's really good to go to. Some of you
For
guys.
the new elected officials training?
Yeah, new elected
That's
officials
definitely
training is
worth
really
going
good.
If any of you haven't gone yet.
Yeah,
I'd
I
actually
went
like to
last
go
year,
yet.
and it was really good.
Yeah, it is good.
I think it's a 2-day affair.
Yeah.
Go out and spend the night, and then all expense paid trip by the city. June, I think it is.
Let me look it up.
I'll get some information on it, I'll pass it along.
We've been talking about our the cable TV board, about the increase that we've been realizing in the last few years. We've been talking about maybe trying to get a little raise.
Where are you at, Buck?
It's 41, 40.
What page?
28, on page 3.
Page 3?
The only thing we can figure is there's more subscribers, but for this year, it's already 10 months, it's 44,188.
What line are you on?
4028.
40,28. So we've been getting the same amount for quite a few years.
Where's the?
Yeah. And that's.
Yeah, it actually has gone up, hasn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
23.5 is what you gave.
I think another payment, 23.5.
So, the building department, that comes under community development.
Yes.
You've got 2 new employees and you've got $500 for training.
Just kept it the same.
Hmm?
So we just kept it the same as last year until, he's.
I'm sending it to the floodplain management, they'll do that this year. Dave will.
Dave will, yeah.
I told the new building inspector that I would pay for his recertification. You know, he's got, he probably needs some training in electrical codes. I think it's probably the biggest weakness. So I don't know, maybe it wouldn't hurt.
I remember the one I attended that Kate put on was a really good school for 4 days and real reasonable. I don't know if they're still doing that or not.
How would the cable TV board go about obtaining a raise?
Making a request, you're gonna budget it. You have to budget it.
Yeah.
I apparently wasn't there when you were having that conversation, so I don't know how much you're talking about.
Some amount. Anything's better than, any raise would be good. But you can see that it's only the 10-month here, it's already, 44,188. Well, what the income is, yeah.
Martin, the revenues on the TV board, is
This
that pulled in specifically?
Pardon
from
me,
the
what's your
franchise
name?
fee? Oh, I'm sorry. Brian Wolfman, 210 St. Genevieve Drive, also part of the TV board.
Yeah.
Is that specifically from franchise fees only, no tax revenue or anything busted
Correct.
in there? Okay. And just for my own clarity, thank you. Are you marking no on that because I'm on the board, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's difficult.
So,
The file is difficult.
I should have spoken up, sorry.
Just make, sometime between now and the time we adopt the budget, you need to tell us the
Yeah.
dollar figure.
Well, I was thinking that was the case, yeah.
But, and I would have somebody like Gary maybe send me a memo or something making the request that I can present to the board.
Okay.
This is,
Now we know.
that's probably the payments to the band here.
Thank you.
That's the cost of the band.
What do you know? You got something on the band?
I don't have any. I'd like to find a way to use that CD for something in the band fund.
We on the band already?
No,
We could be. Any other question? You wanna go to the band?
well, let's just go down the road, you don't have to.
Yeah, let's go through the punch list here.
So where are we?
I don't know which.
Well, we were on legislative, we kinda went back.
Okay.
All right.
So what's-
So we're on judicial now?
Judicial, page 6. All righty.
Yeah.
Any questions about judicial?
Yeah, how was it that we weren't paying employee insurance for judicial in 15, 16, and 17, but we are now? Is that because of the clerk that we split with the?
Okay. Makes sense.
What is judicial infrastructure?
Wasn't that redoing the program with that entrance and Lisa's office and all that stuff that should have been done, what, 2 years ago now?
Yeah. And we just
Get
kept the same.
compliance.
So we budgeted 12,000 for it last year, but didn't
Didn't spend
didn't
it.
spend it.
Didn't spend it.
So we're gonna budget again 12,000, so then in theory, next year we have 24,000 to spend on it?
No, because at the end of the year,
It goes away.
all accounts are zero
And the leftover money just goes into
into
it.
our carryover.
It's kinda hard to save up for a big project with that.
Well, you have to budget it. So like the replacement equipment for the fire truck, you know, we decided last year to put 20,000 in a fund, which we did. But if you want that to grow, you're gonna have to put 20,000 in again this year. And then so it'll become $40,000 budget this year instead of the 20,000. Otherwise, it goes away.
Back there is all.
So we didn't do any of that infrastructure?
We did not.
Stuff.
That's part of the police department renovation and all that. It's all included.
And the 12,000 was just a placeholder.
Right.
We didn't know.
And that's gonna come from,
The chief took the drawing down the other night and was gonna meet with somebody and try and get the material prices on doing the administrative offices.
right, and the money for that comes from
It
the
will come out
capital
of
improvement?
that capital improvement fund.
Line 7030, legal services. What is that? I realize it's legal services.
Is that the
It's a cross.
Prosecutor, that's what I thought. Checking.
Any more questions? What's next on the agenda?
Administrative?
Administrative,
Page 7 and 8.
page 7.
7 and 8, yes, sir.
One thing we didn't do, and what I'm gonna talk about, is, we didn't put anything in for code enforcement, because we haven't spent anything this year. But if we're gonna get more aggressive on somebody refuses to cut their grass and we have to cut their grass, and we're gonna spend the money to cut their grass, this would be kind of where that money would be budgeted. We haven't done that this year. I don't know if we're gonna have to do it next year. Do we wanna budget something to cover the potential?
Where's this at?
Oh, it's
7061 on page 8.
And when our conversation with the city attorney the other night about this issue, you know, it sounds to me like by the time you get to the point where you can actually cut somebody's grass, you're gonna need a hay baler to get it done. It's a process.
And the only way you get your money back is when she sells the property?
And maybe not even then.
See, that just doesn't make sense.
That whole system.
The collector, we have a contract with the collector to collect our taxes. The contract is for taxes, not for special tax bills. So if we generate a special tax bill and the county takes that person to the courthouse steps to do a tax sale, she's not gonna collect what's due to us.
Can we change? Can we talk to the attorney and get this changed somewhere?
Get that changed?
Something changed the word.
That's changing the legislature, because
It's a state thing.
it's one of the, we're following a procedure, the language of our code mirrors the state statute. But we can't assume a greater authority than the statute awards to us.
But when I was there, we had people who cut lawns. Remember we did that on an annual basis?
They had weed court.
Huh?
Yeah.
In weed court, yes.
They can still do that. But we haven't had to do it this year. We got one right now that's on the merge on 4th Street. So far this year, we've gotten voluntary compliance on just every case we've addressed.
Except Main Street.
Well, that's different.
There's a house very near me that I've been watching some painting going on, and it's a very impressive thing. The home already looks considerably better, and it's not done yet.
3rd Street?
I was happy to see it, yes.
That's a consequence of the letters we sent.
I like the letters.
I do too.
You did?
Yeah. We keep doing that.
on 4th Street.
It's in the middle of the block between Jefferson and Washington, 2-story Victorian. West side of the street,
Oh, I know the one.
former city employee.
Speaking of the city attorney, where's he at on that? Is that under legal services for administration, or is that?
Yes.
Okay. just finding it. Looks like 70/30.
70/30.
So we're actually pretty good in that.
Paying less now than we historically paid.
How about that?
17.
Considerably under budget from what we had.
And part of that is that he doesn't charge us for any travel.
Right.
He doesn't start charging until he parks in the parking lot.
That's a heck of a deal.
That's a good thing.
2 minutes after the meeting starts.
So how many employees are in the administrative department?
1, 2, 3,
4.
4
Yeah.
and a half.
And a half.
A half?
Part-time.
Figure that one out.
Yeah.
She works 10 to 2 every day.
Okay.
She's the swing shift. And then covers vacations, you
Yeah,
know.
Laura?
No, she's water and sewer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
A part of Megan's.
Megan,
Like a
yeah,
quarter.
right. We take the office staff's pay and charge it against the departments they serve.
Gotcha.
So Megan spends a lot of time doing the water and sewer.
Okay.
Any other questions? Where we at next?
Community development, page 9 and 10.
My numbers are different. Weird.
How's it working out for you?
Well, like I said, I like the letters. I'm happy to see some improvements going on around town.
So am I.
Great.
That's working, and also a fine group of volunteers that do a lot of stuff.
Has there been a lot of pushback from the letters?
A little bit. Nobody's come to me to complain. They complained today.
Well, that's what he's there for.
They haven't. And he's very good. I mean,
He is good. He's doing an excellent
very
job.
calm, very cool, very collected.
And he works with people, and that's what we need.
Yeah.
Cooperation. We don't, you know.
Yeah, nobody's that, yeah.
9th Street.
Lower Ninth Ward. We're gonna have Bob, you need to have a big block party over there. We're gonna do some cleanup work and have a block party. You're gonna head it up. You and Bob.
All right, let's go for it.
We're gonna build community development is what that's gonna be called. You're gonna get the neighbors out there, close the street off. No beer, Buck.
I don't care.
Okay.
Boy, talk about a killjoy.
No, the whole street.
No beer?
Yeah.
Well, it goes to hell.
Okay.
Oh, we're getting there. It's gonna be
It's
good.
gonna be great. Where we at?
Page 9. Is that where we still are?
I
Community
think
development?
we're looking at 9 and 10 and decide.
Yes. Okay.
Any more questions on that? Where we at there, Gary?
Community and economic development, page 11.
That's short and sweet there.
Find out.
Okay, where we at going now?
All right, you're gonna go now to band,
Oh, boy.
page 26, please.
We'll have to spend quite a bit of time on the band.
And I'm thinking that CD should be used for one of those band shells down by the,
I don't know if you can build something that would be what we'd want for that amount of money. Oh, Mosquito Central down there.
Where?
we have lavender. I'm
That's
sorry.
That's Jerdafet Park. You
Oh, there
can't
it
take up that area.
We have lavender now.
is. Back over here.
I was always under the impression that a lot of the downtown businesses liked us in the immediate downtown area because some of our patrons bleed over into.
Yeah, that's
So
So
most
there-
of the patrons are complaining when they
Oh, I see.
when the band originally talked about that several years ago, of moving it to another location, whether it be up at the St. John, the Performing Arts Center. Everybody said, no, we want it on the desert, in our cars, so we can honk our
Well,
horns.
I think-
And they wanted the tradition of it.
I think, Joe, as the band has progressed and got so much better, that them people would follow that band no matter where they went. So I don't agree with it.
Yeah, I don't know that we would have a drop in attendance.
No.
I mean, there is
I'm
fewer
just saying what
people.
was discussed years
All
ago.
right.
When we do have concerts in the Performing Arts Center, it seems like there's fewer people there, but some of that's because when we do it in the Performing Arts Center, it's because there's a storm going on.
Yeah, there's no notice.
People don't want to come out in a storm, or it's really crazy hot.
Yeah.
Great seats, fantastic air
I,
conditioning.
if the, I was intrigued by the thought of the, what's the old,
County service.
extension office, the county services building. That's gonna be torn down and turned into a parking lot.
Well, that would be a great spot for it.
Maybe you could.
It's for
put-
sale.
Yeah.
It's for sale, yeah, I read Micah Rousey. It's for sale, and, but if that is indeed gonna be torn down and turned into a big parking lot area, maybe there would be room for, on one end of that, to build something, but you're gonna need storage, you're gonna need electricity, I mean, there's a lot. Perryville, I think's got a thing downtown, right?
Yeah, there's like a corner lot where they
It's
put a
very
building
nice.
on.
It's
And
very, it was
nice.
very expensive.
It was very expensive.
It was
Yeah.
considerably more than $50,000.
Yes. More than 3 times.
Yeah, it was.
Well, that's a good start though, $50,000.
Yeah, I don't know, I mean, that money, it's growing very, if
Yeah.
any, not.
Yeah.
1%.
I don't know if it's ever going to get to where you can use that money to just outright build what you're gonna need.
Make a good down payment on something.
I'm a cash guy, I don't like to make payments.
Okay, well.
Pay as you go and you never owe.
Yes. I like, the debtor is slave to the, whatever the rest of that word is.
I agree.
You know what I'm talking about? I don't like to make payments for stuff.
Well, then when, you'll just sit and look at that money for a while there, unless you find something.
Well, or
We don't
spend it for
really
something
have
else.
any
Yeah, what
control.
else? Huh?
We don't have.
I mean, it
anything
has
say about
to, it has to be
anyways.
used for.
For the band.
For
Music, or for
any
music.
band, for free public music performance, right? That's how
The
the
German band.
ordinance, well, that's in this already.
Yeah, but that's not controlled by this board, don't they? That's controlled by their own board,
They
right?
have a band board.
They have but that,
They
and
don't.
we intercontract with the band board.
It actually, yeah, and the statute requires that there be a band board.
Right.
So
But
can't-
do they set the budget or do we set it?
You
for
set the
them?
budget,
Okay.
and then they implement your budget.
Right.
You can build a pretty nice pavilion for 50 grand.
That's what I was thinking.
I'm serious, you do pretty good, couldn't you, Bob?
Bob will donate material, right?
There you go, done.
Sure. I don't donate, but I'm sure Bob will work with you and give you a 2x4 here or there.
Bottom line.
Sure.
Maybe there's a concrete company local that could donate some concrete.
Guarantee you, you talk to Ready Mix out there, they'd be happy to pay for half that.
We get some base rock.
Quarries, you could.
All right, well, I'll get right on it.
Well, you don't have to do anything till the building's torn out.
We're gonna leave it in the CD until,
Yeah.
but I agree with you in that you keep a reserve account or an emergency fund if you can reasonably anticipate a need for something like a bridge goes out or a water tower fails or whatever. I'm not sure what a band emergency would be.
Like some kind of tuba emergency. Or,
I was gonna say, some of the instruments are on.
Well, you could use it for
very
instrument
few,
placement.
very few.
Isn't the percussion and all that?
There's the bass drum.
But the Georgia Fett they're planning on building a pavilion down on their grounds down there, and that could be a good spot they're gonna put up a pretty good sized pavilion down there in that park down
Yeah,
there.
but it won't be a band show.
Like a picnic pavilion.
Yeah, yeah. But maybe you could add your 50 to it to make it some,
A band shell / picnic pavilion.
yeah,
It's worth looking into.
that is.
All right, where are we here?
Where we at, Joe?
Special road.
You're setting the pace.
Number 29.
Special road.
Number 29.
Move by 29. Where it is. There's not much there to look at.
No, there's not.
Where are we going from there?
That's a good thing. Downtown TIF, page 4.
That money will be spent this year.
That's good.
Which one?
The
Oh.
70,000, 69.
69,
That's
64.
Chadwell Lane.
right?
We hear about that. That's been being spent for quite a few years.
Well, the design work, I've been reviewing it and
Winter will
I've
be
made
here
comments
before you
on
know
it
it.
and I've made him change it.
When are they gonna start?
Well, yeah, give us a start date. That's sort of like that trail in the park.
If I get approved plan, if I get plans, in a week, I can put it out for bid and where are we, August, September?
October.
Into September.
Good.
Is there land acquisition involved in it?
That's the issue. Probably.
Right.
And we're gonna, if you wanna bring that thing in at 90 degrees to the highway, you gotta either go on the south side or the north side of the road to accomplish that. Both property owners have expressed a willingness to cooperate, so I don't know that it's gonna be a big issue. But I gotta have something to show them.
Yeah,
Sure.
right.
And so right now, he's working on a change that I recommended. And then he's gonna produce an easement plat that I will present to the adjacent property owner. And presumably, he'll cooperate.
Okay, TIF questions?
How long has the TIF been around, just out of curiosity?
Which tip?
Downtown.
Downtown TIF, I'm sorry.
2013.
13.
Okay. And are we revisiting this?
And this
in
is
the
the one,
future?
there's a commission set up, and all that to review this.
We've asked the taxing districts to appoint their representatives. The ambulance district opted out. The special taxing districts sent me a letter appointing Jason Schott. The county's got 2 seats on it. I assume they're gonna have the same 2 people that were there before.
Okay.
The mayor appoints 6, and we have 1 vacancy we have to fill. The school districts gets 2, and they will have to, they'll have to figure out who they want
Okay.
to represent them, because
Yeah.
Eric Bowser was on it, so he's still
On school board,
on
yeah.
the school board. And, but 2012, was it Shelley Jokerst? And she's not there anymore, so.
Probably Dr. Julie Fleeg.
If she wants to do it, or she can
Or she's delegate.
just pick somebody.
Okay.
I mean, you know, the decision's kind of relatively easy, it's not.
Would it be difficult to get sales tax collected within the downtown TIF district as like a historical trend?
We do monitor sales tax receipts for what we have determined are tourism-sensitive businesses. I think we talked about this before. To see how the fluctuations in the sales tax relate to the overall sales tax fluctuations.
Right.
I can't release any information about individual sales taxes.
Just as a whole, not for individual.
You gotta tell me, tell me what businesses you want, or what boundaries you want. You want the TIF boundaries?
The TIF boundaries.
Because they go out, you know, no sales tax.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
TIF, I'd like to.
We have that information.
Okay, I'd like to see that at some point. It doesn't have to be at this exact moment, but.
Fine.
Yeah.
Right in the-
Do it.
Was it, it was in that information was passed out. The 11 by 17
Yes,
spreadsheet, it's in there.
Okay.
the one you threw away.
For the one I have filed at home. That's historic data that goes back,
Yes.
okay.
Okay.
Where you at, Randy?
Debt service.
Federal.
Oh, federal.
Federal levy.
Page 42.
42, okay.
Okay. Debt service?
43, debt services.
Let's stop on federal levy for a minute.
Oh.
Not that-
One cool.
I'm gonna be proposing to you, as soon as I can figure out what's supposed to be in it, an intergovernmental agreement between this is not the levy district, which it reminded me of it, and the city. In the past, we have been providing services to close the gates, and, you know, and it's kind of been just a gentleman's agreement. And so I'm gonna put together a formal agreement between the city and the levy district as to what our role is when we have to close the gates. No money's involved, but I think we need to make sure. that
Documentation.
when somebody says, do this, we say, you know, that's not really what we agreed to do, or it is what we agreed to do.
It's a good idea.
Okay. Where are we?
Debt services.
Debt
Page
service.
43, sir.
These are really not discretionary items.
I know, it's just.
Yeah,
I mean, we got debt and we gotta pay it.
pretty basic, isn't it?
Capital improvements, page 45. Where's my capital improvements? I just got it. Take my capital improvement.
So the 518, that's just the remainder on the fire truck, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
We will have a, is that it?
We'll meet at 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
Before our next meeting, we'll do police and tourism.
Is that it then?
That's it for tonight.
I mean, that's it for next week?
That's it for next week will be the end.
No, we have water and
Oh.
sewer.
Water and sewer.
John,
Yeah, you're not
I'll
getting
see
all
you
that.
next
When
We
is
want to
this?
do water and sewer after the meeting.
We'll talk
So
about
that'll
that.
be 5 before our regular
Right.
meeting at City Hall.
We're gonna meet 5, have an hour before our regular meeting
So
to
Pam, was
do,
that 5 for the meeting? All right.
5.
to do
what do
those,
we got left?
those two, huh?
What do we have left?
We have tourism, police, and water and sewer.
Right, oh, I know. Everybody knows.